Hey everyone. All right, I'm going to give a presentation on the Cultural Revolution, which took place from 1966 to 1976. So we're going to learn a little bit about that. Okay, so an important concept or term that you'll need to know is called two words: proletariat and the bourgeoisie. To the left is a picture of the bourgeoisie. The bourgeoisie are considered to be the middle class or upper middle class professions such as lawyers, maybe even teachers, landowners, landlords, with aspirations or desire to mimic or behave like the upper class and the nobility. So originally it started the term was created during, I believe, the 1600s, and they are a representation of wealth and displaying how much money they have in wealth. While on my right is the proletariat. They're the working class. So it's the working class versus the social elite or the people with money. And if we think about Mao is all in support of the peasants and the peasantry and the factory workers. So when we look at propaganda from the time of the Great Leap Forward, they would be in support of the proletariat. So here's the bourgeoisie. So the middle and upper class, typically with reference to the perceived materialistic values of conventional attitudes. So that would mean perceived materialistic values of flashy cars, clothes, looks, these sort of ideas. Okay, so here's my example. The Kardashians. They're a very good example of the bourgeoisie. They're all flashy. They're all about their image. We're not too sure what they do. And then look at this guy. Here's a bourgeoisie look. He's got his fancy hair. He's got his designer clothes, his dark rimmed glasses like me. Okay. So maybe I'm a little bit bourgeoisie. And here's the proletariat, which is working class people regarded collectively. So they are a group of people. So it's often used in reference to Marxism. Marx talks about the proletariat and how the proletariat are the ones who build society, and the bourgeoisie don't really do anything but feed off of others. So here's Marx, and here's a quote. The proletarians have nothing to lose but their chains. So that means like a metaphor of slavery, and they have a world to win. And here's an example of a proletariat. So a working class person working in the mines. Factory workers, so a couple of women here on the factory line. That would be a good example of a proletariat. Okay, so the Cultural Revolution. Let's get back to that. So it started around May 1966 and went to 1976. While it was believed to be a political campaign or a way of ridding the country of the bourgeoisie decadence of their lifestyle, it was really a power struggle. And that means like a fight for power. And Mao wanted to get back his power and be head of the Communist Party. Mao lost his placing after the Great Leap Forward and the disaster of the Great Leap Forward. And what they wanted to do is Mao told the young people of China to attack the four olds: old customs, culture, habits, and ideas. This could be religion, this could be clothing, this could be the way that we live. Ideas such as religion or Christianity, Buddhism, you name it. So people went so far as to destroy old parts of history and relics. So we're going to remember these things. So it was Mao's attempt to gain power after his failed attempt of the Great Leap Forward to industrialize China. It lasted for 10 years. It ended when Mao died. It was also a power struggle between members of the party in itself. So Mao had people essentially attack people of the party. Yeah. So there's a group that's very important that we're going to look at called the Red Guard. And these are young students who followed Mao's words and ideas. So about 500,000 to 2 million died. murdered. Some people committed suicide. There's horrible acts that went on during this time. So the Red Guards and the government targeted intellectuals, teachers, professors, politicians, and people that were believed to be bourgeoisie who lived that decadent, that lavish lifestyle. Okay, and it gave people, young people, and working class people and peasants a sense of power that they could change China. Okay, and China wanted to rid itself of the past, so anything associated with the Nationalist Party or the Qing Dynasty or any of the dynasties or any of the shame that was brought before that. All right, so here's the Red Guard. Fanatical means kind of crazy. They believe that they're Mao soldiers. Para means like an equal. They weren't the military, but they were equal to a military. And they began at a famous speech in Tsinghua Middle School, which is just outside of Beijing. So I've got some pictures from later on. And you'll notice they're all holding a little something in their hand there, and they're reading. Okay, and they have red bands on their shoulders. You can see a girl in the left-hand corner, just like Mao has. And so that would be a way of identifying the Red Guard. Okay, they followed Marxist beliefs, so they gave support to the proletariat. And see, everybody's holding up their little red book right there, or Mao's Book of Quotations. Okay, and there again, so they would read these quotations from Mao. So let's see if I can remember one, which is that a revolution is not about writing essays. Yeah, a revolution is about, essentially, and I'm paraphrasing, is about bloodshed, that there will be violence and revolution. And people would question each other and see if they'd know these quotations. And the Red Guard would yell out quotations when they were shaming people for being capitalists or bourgeoisie. So here's a case. So we're going to look at some pictures of shaming. So this is a particular individual who is a party secretary, and he, around his neck it reads counter-revolutionary. Revisionist means to retell something a different way. So they were attacked as being counter-revolutionaries, gangsters, anti-communists, and they were shamed. So they'd had things thrown at them. They wore dunce caps and had people screaming at them, throwing things at them. Sometimes they were even murdered. This led to some people committing suicide. And they were labeled like landlord, pigs, dogs, you name it. Okay, so here's continuing pictures of shaming. Okay, see if you look at somebody who's having his hair cut. There's public shamings. We can also see a picture of Mao in the background. And if you look, these would be carried out by Red Guards, and sometimes the actual government. Okay, so here we have again, so Red Guard and the shaming. This reads anti-communist party and gangster. See some, yeah, that's either blood or paint on the face. And look at the crowds of people. So here you're going to remember the removal of the 4 O's. They remove old customs, old habits, culture, and ideas. And in this case, we have people being taking down statues, Buddhist statues, and burning them alive. The one on the right, which we'll watch a video later, gentleman talks about it being a hot summer day and being forced to kneel near this fire while chanting quotations from Mao's book. Okay, here's a destruction of a Confucian temple. So think about all of China's ancient history. So we looked at over thousands of years of history, and now they're trying to take down all of China's amazing history. Whether you like it or not, it's still a part of our story, or China's story. And now these young people are being led to believe that they need to take apart these old ways. And this movement, in many cases, was led by young people in high school, okay, maybe early years of university. Now this is Tsinghua Gate at Tsinghua University, and this is them taking down old traditions. So this is where the Red Guard first started, based on a famous speech. So Mao was able to mobilize these young people for his support in trying to get back that power from the party. I feel like I missed a slide here. I might skip the slide. Okay, I'm gonna go back. I misordered my slides. So the Gang of Four, after it was all over, so the Cultural Revolution ended in 1976 with the death of Mao. But the Communist Party, due to the power of Mao and his image and what he represents in communism, did not want to blame Mao for the Cultural Revolution. So what they decided to do is they blamed the Gang of Four. And so specifically, Zhang Qing was Mao's wife, and she said that she was Mao's dog and that she just carried out the words of Mao. So she was sentenced to death, but then later given a life sentence, and she ended up committing suicide. She hung herself in 1991, the eve or the night before the anniversary of the revolution. So they had a party to blame, and they carried out propaganda to show the blame of the Cultural Revolution. So the impact of the Cultural Revolution was it actually led to an embrace or the Communist Party adopting state capitalism. So there was reform in the 1980s as China slowly started to develop policies leading towards capitalism and not such hardline Marxist, communist, or Mao communist beliefs where the proletariat was going to change China, if we think of the Great Leap Forward and communes. So that all started to fall apart. So if we look at this chart, look at the boom right after the Cultural Revolution. So it slowly starts going up and up and up and up and up. Okay. All right, and that's the end of the slideshow. And so review it if you need to, and we will have a Kahoot based on that later on. Thanks.